The Galactic Council chamber was quiet, but the silence was not peaceful. Every alien delegate sat stiffly, their eyes focused on the glowing center table where Earth's representative stood. Ambassador Elise Vance could feel the weight of the galaxy staring at her. She knew what was coming. "The vote is final," the council speaker announced. His voice echoed across the Great Hall. "By a majority decision, the planet called Earth is hereby exiled from the Council of Worlds. All trade, all alliances, all technological sharing are terminated effective immediately." The hall erupted in noise. Some alien species hissed, others clicked their mandibles in agreement. A few sat silently, looking away as if ashamed. Elise's hands tightened into fists. "This is a mistake," she said, her voice strong but calm. "Humanity has made mistakes, yes, but we have also given much to this galaxy. Medicine, science, explorers who risked their lives. You are reckless," the speaker interrupted. "You fight among yourselves. You interfere in conflicts that are not yours, and you spread faster than any other young race. The Council must protect stability." Elise wanted to argue, but she saw that nothing she said would matter. The decision had been made long before this meeting. The Council did not want to guide humanity. They wanted to contain it. When she returned to Earth, there were protests in every city. People gathered in streets shouting at screens as the news played again and again. Humanity exiled from the galaxy. But amid the anger there was also something else. Unity. For the first time in history, every nation felt the same pain, the same insult. At the United Earth Command Center, military leaders gathered around a massive hollow table. Admiral Kalen stood at its head. He was tall, silver-haired, and carried himself with the discipline of a man who had seen too many wars. "So," he said, looking at the others, "they have cut us off. Good. That means we don't have to play by their rules anymore." Some of the officers exchanged uncertain glances. "Admiral," one of them said carefully, "without Council technology, our fleets will fall behind within a decade. Our colonies will fail," Kalen smiled faintly. "Then we stop relying on their technology. We build our own." Dr. Sarah Miles, the leading scientist of Earth's Stellar Research Division, leaned forward. "I've already started reverse engineering the FTL cores from the last batch of Council freighters. We can improve them. Make them faster, maybe even safer." Kalen nodded. "Good, we don't just survive this exile. We rise from it." In a small training hangar far from the command center, a young pilot named Rin Calder sat on the wing of his fighter, staring up at the stars. He had joined the Space Force to see the galaxy, to meet aliens, to explore strange worlds. Now the galaxy had turned its back on him. His instructor, an older pilot with a cybernetic arm, walked over. "You look angry, Calder." Rin nodded. "They don't want us out there. They think we're dangerous," the instructor chuckled. "We are dangerous, and soon we'll show them just how dangerous we can be." Across the planet, something incredible began to happen. Nations that had once been enemies began sharing resources. Engineers worked day and night designing new ships. Factories shifted production to build faster engines, stronger hulls, and better weapons. For months, humanity worked without rest. And slowly, the first Terran-designed warship took shape in orbit above Earth. Sleek, powerful, and built with no alien help, it was a symbol of defiance. When the ship was completed, Admiral Kalen stood before the cameras and addressed all of Earth and its colonies. "We were cast out," he said. "They thought exile would break us. But we are human. We do not break. From this day forward, we are no longer a world begging for a seat at their table. We are the Terran people. We will explore, we will build, we will thrive. And no one will decide our fate but us." The speech was broadcast to every screen, every ship, every colony. Rin Calder watched it from the hangar bay, feeling something ignite inside him. Pride. Purpose. Humanity was no longer just surviving. It was preparing. And somewhere deep in the void of space, alien spies sent their reports back to the Galactic Council. They warned that Earth was not collapsing as expected. Instead, it was uniting, growing stronger, and building ships the galaxy had never seen before. The Council had exiled humanity to keep them contained, but they had just created the very thing they feared most: a united, determined, and ambitious species ready to carve its own path among the stars. Years passed, but the memory of exile still burned in every human heart. What began as anger had turned into determination. Humanity was no longer divided by borders or politics. They were united under one flag, the Terran Union. The great shipyards in orbit above Earth and Mars glowed day and night. Huge construction rings assembled starships piece by piece, while cargo haulers carried alloys from asteroid mines. Humanity's industry was running at full speed. Dr. Sarah Miles stood on a high observation deck, looking down at the largest ship humanity had ever built. Its hull gleamed silver under the light of the sun. It was not just a warship, and it was a statement. "This is what they tried to stop," she said quietly. Admiral Kalen stood beside her, his hands clasped behind his back. "They thought they could keep us small. Now they'll see just how far we can go." The ship was called TSS Resolute, the first of a new class of Terran battlecruisers. It was faster than any Council ship, carried heavier shields, and had a modular weapon system that could be reconfigured mid-battle. At the Academy, Rin Calder trained day after day. Flight simulators tested his reflexes until sweat dripped down his neck. He learned not just how to fly, but how to think like an enemy pilot, to predict moves before they happened. One night, sitting in the mess hall with his fellow cadets, Rin stared at the stars through the wide viewport. "Do you think we'll ever see them again?" he asked. "Who?" a friend replied. "The aliens." "The Council," another cadet shrugged. "If we do, I hope they're ready, because we won't be the same humans they exiled." Training was hard, but the cadets didn't complain. They knew why they were here. Humanity had one goal now, to never be at the mercy of the galaxy again. Soon, the Terran fleet began launching patrols beyond the solar system. The first Terran warp gates, Sarah's invention, allowed ships to travel between systems faster than light. Colonists poured through, settling planets that had been unreachable before. On the planet New Ceres, settlers planted crops and raised cities under a sky with two suns. On Titania, they built mining colonies and drilled deep into the moon's crust. Humanity was spreading faster than ever, and every new colony swore loyalty to the Terran Union. But this rise was not without danger. Alien pirates, seeing Earth cut off from the Council, attacked several freighters near the edge of human space. Rin, now a full pilot, flew his first real mission as part of a patrol wing. The pirates struck fast, using stolen Council technology, but they underestimated the Terran fleet's new ships. Rin's squadron engaged them in a running battle across an asteroid belt. His hands moved across the controls with practiced precision, weaving through debris and firing plasma cannons. When the last pirate ship exploded in a flash of light, Rin let out a breath he didn't know he had been holding. "We did it," he said softly over the comms. Back on Earth, the victory was celebrated as a symbol of the new age. No longer was humanity helpless. They had defended their people on their own, without the Council's permission, without their help. In a meeting room aboard the Resolute, Admiral Kalen addressed his captains. "This is only the beginning," he said, pointing at a star map. "Our scouts report dozens of unclaimed systems within reach of our warp gates. We will take them. We will settle them. And we will build an empire that no one can threaten." The room was silent for a moment, and then every officer nodded. Humanity had been exiled, but now they were becoming something new, something stronger. The Galactic Council, far away, received reports of this rapid expansion. Some delegates dismissed them, laughing that primitive humans could not possibly be building such ships on their own. Others grew nervous. "If they keep spreading like this," one alien said in the Council chamber, "soon they will control more space than any young species ever has." The speaker simply shook his head. "Let them. They will grow too fast. They will collapse under their own weight. We will not interfere." But even as he said this, humanity's empire was solidifying. Colonies prospered, fleets multiplied, and science advanced faster than ever before. On the observation deck, Sarah Miles looked out at the growing shipyard network, hundreds of vessels gliding through space. "They thought exile would slow us down," she whispered. "No," Admiral Kalen replied. "Exile was the best thing that ever happened to us. They forced us to stand on our own, and now nothing can stop us." Rin Calder, sitting in his fighter cockpit before another mission, looked at the stars. He felt the hum of the engines, the promise of the future. Humanity was no longer just surviving. They were building something greater, a future that belonged to them. 5 years had passed since the first Terran battlecruiser launched. The Terran Empire now stretched across a dozen star systems, with more being claimed every year. Humanity had grown stronger, faster, smarter, and the galaxy had started to notice. It was a quiet morning aboard the TSS Resolute when the alarm sounded. "Unknown ship approaching," the officer on duty called out. "Not Terran design. Not pirate either. It matches." "Council registry." The bridge crew went silent. This was the moment many had been waiting for. Admiral Kalen stepped onto the command deck, his expression calm but sharp. "Open a channel," he said. On the main screen, a tall alien with blue skin and golden robes appeared. His tone was smooth, diplomatic. "This is Envoy Telros of the Galactic Council," the alien said. "We come in peace. We request a meeting with your leaders." Kalen's eyes narrowed slightly. "After 5 years of silence, you suddenly come in peace?" "The Council is concerned," Telros replied. "Human expansion has been rapid. We wish to discuss this before it becomes a problem." Kalen did not answer right away. He turned to his officers. "Bring them aboard," he ordered. "But keep the ship on alert." When the envoy and his escort arrived, the difference between the two sides was clear. The aliens expected to see a struggling species, still licking their wounds from exile. Instead, they stepped into a shining warship, its halls filled with confident officers and humming with advanced technology. "You have built much," Telros admitted as Kalen escorted him through the ship. "More than we believed possible." "Because you underestimated us," Kalen said simply. Meanwhile, Rin Calder was flying a routine patrol near the colony of New Ceres when he received a distress signal. "Terran freighter under attack." The signal crackled. "Council patrol ship fired without warning." Rin's blood ran cold. The Council had promised peace, yet here was one of their ships attacking Terran civilians. "Squadron, form up," Rin shouted. His fighters streaked through the void toward the coordinates. The battle was already underway when they arrived. The freighter's shields were failing under the relentless fire of the sleek Council patrol ship. "Target their engines," Rin ordered. "We're not here to kill, just stop them." His squadron dove as one, plasma bolts flashing in the dark. The Council ship tried to break away, but Rin cut across its path, firing a precise shot that disabled its thrusters. The alien ship drifted, powerless, as Terran Marines boarded and secured it. Not a single life was lost. When the news reached the Resolute, Envoy Telros was visibly shaken. "This was not authorized," he insisted. "The patrol must have acted without orders. The Council does not seek war." Kalen studied him carefully. "Then prove it," he said. "Work with us to find who gave that patrol its orders. Because next time we will not be so patient." Back on Earth, the Terran government debated the situation. Some leaders wanted to retaliate immediately, to send a message that humanity would not be attacked without consequence. Others, like Dr. Sarah Miles, argued for diplomacy, at least for now. "If we go to war too soon, we risk losing everything we've built," Sarah said during a meeting. "But if we do nothing, they will think they can attack us whenever they want." Admiral Kalen leaned forward. "We will not do nothing. We will show them we are ready. The Terran fleet will be placed on full alert." Rin was awarded a commendation for his calm handling of the battle. Standing before the assembled pilots, Kalen pinned the medal to his flight suit. "You did more than save a freighter today," Kalen told him. "You sent a message that humanity will defend its own." Across the galaxy, word spread quickly. Other young species who had been mistreated or ignored by the Council heard of humanity's growing power. Secret envoys began arriving in Terran space, offering alliances. On the bridge of the Resolute, Sarah watched as data flowed across the main screen, reports of alien species offering support, colonies requesting protection, and whispers of rebellion spreading through Council-controlled space. "This changes everything," she said. Kalen nodded. "Yes, the Council wanted to keep us isolated. Instead, they have made us into a symbol of freedom." Rin, sitting alone in the pilot's lounge later that night, looked out at the stars. He could feel the storm coming. Humanity had just had its second first contact, and this time, they were not the frightened newcomers begging for a seat at the table. This time, they were ready to demand respect. And if the Council refused to give it, humanity was prepared to take it. The weeks after the freighter incident were anything but quiet. Terran intelligence networks picked up strange signals. encrypted council transmissions that didn't match normal patrol routes. Something was happening in the shadows. Admiral Kalen stood in the Terran war room staring at a star map glowing with red and blue markers. "They are probing our borders," he said to the gathered commanders. "Small raids, pirate attacks, sabotage of supply lines, all too well organized to be coincidence." Dr. Sarah Miles tapped on her datapad, bringing up intercepted messages. "We traced several pirate weapons back to council stockpiles. Someone is arming them." The room fell silent. "They're trying to bleed us," Kalen said grimly. "Slow us down before we become too powerful." Terran leadership met in an emergency session on Earth. Some council members wanted to strike back immediately, to send fleets to attack council stations. Others warned that such a move could bring the entire galaxy into war. Sarah stood and addressed them. "I believe we can fight smart. I have developed a new device, a warp disruption field. With it, we can trap enemy fleets before they even reach our worlds." The holo display lit up with a simulation, an enemy fleet entering a system, only to be caught in a sphere of glowing energy that shut down their faster-than-light drives. Kalen's eyes narrowed, impressed. "That could give us the advantage we need. If they come for us, they will not escape." Meanwhile, Rin Calder was sent on a dangerous mission. His squadron was tasked with protecting a supply convoy to the frontier world of Vega Prime, which had been hit by repeated raids. As the convoy neared the planet, a massive force of pirate ships appeared on a far more than intelligence had predicted. Multiple bogies incoming. Rin shouted over the comm, "Form up, defensive pattern." The battle turned chaotic. Lasers and plasma fire lit up the void as Rin dodged between enemy blasts. One of the freighters was hit, spinning out of control. "We can't hold them all off," one of Rin's wingmates shouted. Just then, a Terran destroyer dropped out of warp, engines blazing. It deployed the first prototype of Sarah's disruption field. A wave of energy rippled through space, freezing every pirate ship in place as their FTL drives went offline. "Targets are trapped," the destroyer's captain called. "Terran Marines, move in." Rin and his squadron switched to precision fire, disabling weapons instead of destroying ships. Within minutes, the pirates surrendered. When interrogated, the pirate leader revealed something that shocked Terran intelligence. They had been paid in council credits and given exact coordinates of Terran convoys. The evidence was undeniable. On Earth, Admiral Kalen presented the proof to the Terran Union Council. "This is not an accident," he said. "This is state-sponsored aggression. The Galactic Council is waging an undeclared war on us." The chamber erupted in angry voices. Some leaders demanded immediate retaliation. Others urged caution. Rin was invited to speak as a representative of the fleet. Standing tall, still in his flight uniform, he said, "We cannot let them think we are weak. We didn't ask for this fight, but if they want it, we must be ready." The Terran Council voted to prepare for war. Shipyards worked at triple capacity, churning out cruisers, carriers, and fighter squadrons. New colonies were fortified, warp gates reinforced, and the disruption field technology installed across key systems. But humanity did not only prepare for battle, they also reached out to other species. Envoys were sent to alien worlds that had quietly shown sympathy. On the planet Lavaris, a race of insectoid traders signed a secret pact with the Terrans, agreeing to supply rare minerals in exchange for protection. On the aquatic world of Mirath, rebels fighting against council exploitation pledged loyalty to the Terran banner. The Terran Empire was no longer alone. When the council finally learned of these alliances, they panicked. At an emergency session, several senior delegates demanded immediate action. "The humans must be stopped before their influence spreads further," one shouted. And so the council declared a formal blockade on Terran space. When the news reached Earth, the people did not cower. They cheered. Across the Terran Empire, banners were raised and citizens volunteered for service. "This is it," Admiral Kalen said as he stood aboard the Resolute, looking out at the assembled fleet. Dozens of warships floated in formation, their engines glowing like stars. "They wanted to keep us out of the galaxy. Now we will show them we are part of it, whether they like it or not." Rin Calder strapped into his fighter, heart pounding with anticipation. The sky before him was filled with Terran ships ready for the campaign ahead. Humanity had been exiled, attacked, and provoked. But now they were ready. The first Terran war for freedom was about to begin. The Terran fleet assembled at the edge of the frontier, every ship bristling with weapons and shields. Admiral Kalen stood on the bridge of the TSS Resolute, scanning the dark void ahead. Beyond the stars, the Galactic Council's main armada waited, massive and imposing. "This is it," Kalen said quietly. "The moment they thought we could never fight back. And now we will show them who we are." Rin Calder's fighter squadron hummed with energy as they prepared for the jump to the Council system. His hands rested lightly on the controls, but his mind was sharp and alert. Every pilot knew their mission: protect the fleet, strike fast, and adapt to anything the enemy threw at them. Dr. Sarah Miles monitored the warp disruption field from her station. "Everything is ready," she said. "Once we enter their space, I can deploy the field to trap their main fleet." The Terran ships jumped through the gate and emerged into the Council's territory. Almost immediately, the Council's armada opened fire. Lasers lanced across the void, and massive explosions lit the darkness as ships collided. Rin's squadron weaved through the chaos, dodging fire and targeting key enemy vessels. He noticed the Council ships were larger but slower and less flexible than the Terran ships. Humanity's designs, born of necessity, gave them an edge. "Deploy the disruption field," Kalen ordered. A wave of energy radiated outward from the Resolute, freezing the Council fleet in place. Their FTL drives failed, and confusion spread through their ranks. The Terran ships moved in perfect coordination, disabling weapons, cutting engines, and capturing enemy crews without unnecessary destruction. Rin led a strike group toward the Council flagship, a towering vessel with golden armor and rows of weapon turrets. The pilot's heart pounded as he dodged turret fire and made precision attacks on the ship's shields. "Keep going," Kalen's voice came through the comm. "We take their flagship, we take their fleet." The Council, realizing their advantage was gone, attempted to organize a counterattack. But Terran strategy was unpredictable. They used hit-and-run tactics, combined arms, and coordinated attacks that the Council could not anticipate. Meanwhile, on the ground, allied species rallied. Worlds previously under Council control rose in revolt, attacking supply depots, communication arrays, and defensive stations. Humanity was not fighting alone. The galaxy itself was beginning to shift. Hours later, Rin's squadron reached the flagship's bridge. With a precise strike, they disabled the ship's main engines and opened a docking bay for Terran Marines to board. Within minutes, the Council's command crew surrendered. Back on the Resolute, Kalen watched the simulation reports update in real time. The Council fleet was trapped, surrounded, and systematically defeated. Victory was within reach. When the battle ended, Admiral Kalen addressed the assembled Terran commanders. "The Council believed they could exile us and control us. They were wrong. Humanity does not bow to fear. Humanity does not break. Today we have proven that." Rin sat on the deck of his fighter, exhausted but exhilarated. He thought about Earth, about the colonies, about the countless people who had worked and dreamed and fought to reach this moment. Humanity was no longer the young, exiled species the galaxy had mocked. Dr. Sarah Miles, standing beside Kalen, smiled faintly. "We have the power to destroy them entirely," she said softly. Kalen shook his head. "No, we do not destroy, we teach. We show that strength can coexist with fairness. That is how an empire survives." The Terran Empire issued peace terms. The Council, humbled and weakened, agreed to recognize humanity's sovereignty and grant them full rights within the galaxy. New laws were written to ensure that no species could be unfairly exiled or oppressed again. On Earth, people celebrated. Cities were filled with banners, music, and joy. The children of humanity looked up at the stars, knowing that the galaxy was no longer out of reach, that humans had carved their place among the stars with courage, ingenuity, and unity. Rin, now promoted to squadron leader, gazed out at the stars one last time before the fleet returned home. He knew this was just the beginning. Humanity would continue to explore, to expand, and to grow stronger, not through fear, but through determination and honor. Admiral Kalen stood on Earth's observation deck, looking at the stars. He turned to Sarah. "We were exiled. We were doubted. We were tested. And yet," Sarah smiled, "we built an empire," Kalen nodded, "and this empire will never bow again." The stars above Earth seemed brighter that night. For the first time in history, humanity was no longer at the mercy of the galaxy. They were the galaxy's equal, respected, feared, and admired, and humanity had only just begun.